The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18-plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Attention Ditto Heads. Attention Bo Scouts.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
It's time for the soul of excellence.
He is a radio host here in New York.
The Rush Hour is on the air.
Rush.
Now here's James Golden.
Welcome, my friends, to the Friday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, fastest hour in American media. On these very fast weeks that seem to go by, it's already Friday again. And it's hard to believe sometimes. It's like you sit down and it's Monday, and then the next thing you know, you're saying it's Friday. So much going on in the news, and we're going to get to some of it. Being Friday, we might talk about a few other things. Carlos informed me at the top of the, when we were talking right before the show started, trying to see if we wanted to play a cut. He said, the football draft was last night, which I did not. I remember him saying it yesterday, but of course I zeroed out. And then he informed me that the playoffs are on, both the basketball and hockey playoffs, which I did not know. Is there anything interesting going on in any one of those playoff fields that I should know about?
No, yeah.
Anything?
It's the first round still, so there's not a lot of not really. No, let's wait for the second round. I'll keep you informed. I'll keep you updated.
Okay. Anybody playing in the first round that I should be aware of?
New York lost last night.
Are they out of it?
They're down 2-1, first to four.
Huh. I'm assuming you mean the New York Knicks. Do the Nets still exist?
Yeah.
Oh.
They're not in the playoffs.
Oh, okay. So, all right, we have that. And then football, quickly. Did anything happen last night in the draft that was... There
was a funny moment with a player that was talking to one team, and then a different team drafted him ahead of the team he was talking to on the phone.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
He happy?
He's ready to work. That's what everybody says on that day. I'm ready to work.
Okay. I'm ready to work. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've caught up with all the sporting news you need to know. Thank you so much for that update. I rely on Carlos. Oh, by the way, there are things that I do rely on Carlos very strongly for. He advised me of something that I saw today in a news article. He told me this yesterday. You told me yesterday that the new Michael Jackson biopic is out. You said it was getting horrible reviews, but the people in the audience that go to see it love it. And Carlos, you are really amazing, because I read an article today about it. It popped up. I said, this is what Carlos was talking about. And you know what the thrust of the article was? The thrust of the article was the new Michael Jackson biopic is out, and Rotten Tomatoes audience give it a 40%, blah, 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 blah. But the people that are going to see it are absolutely ecstatic about it, and they love the movie.
People getting up, dancing while the show is while the movie is still going on, screaming his signature phrases.
Wow. So you were so ahead of the curve. You had the news story before the news story did. That's pretty amazing. Got to give you, so it's supposed to be released. I think people are seeing a preview of something supposed to be released soon. Also today, yes, folks, we are going to cover the news. But also today, there's an article, where is this? This is from Fox News. Disney's first Star Wars movie in 7 years is tracking to be yet another massive disappointment. Which one? Oh, this is the movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu. Well,
I knew it.
What?
The show is like too good for you to make a movie out of it.
The Mandalorian. Yeah. So this time, let's see. Put it blah, 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 blah. They go through all the wackiness about how everything in it. And they make a few comments, but pretty much it's that the pre-sales for this thing are not going well. And let me just read one line here that says it all. Really, Disney has nobody to blame but themselves. This woman that they put, Kathleen Kennedy, had no plan that they put in front of the Star Wars franchise. And the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is based on pre-ticket sales is just $71 million. That's all it is. $71 million in pre-sales. Films, they talk about the rise of Skywalker felt rushed, inconsistent, and lazy. Yeah, that would be good. And it's hard to believe that they haven't had a Star Wars movie out since 2019, I think it was, they said. Yeah, so I will tell you this as a Star Wars fan that grew up on Star Wars. Disney has so screwed up the whole Star Wars thing. It's those last movies were just horrible. They were horrible. And then they went to the Disney woke version of everything that you got to put in the wokeism in Star Wars. This last broad that they had, this.
But she's gone now.
Is she? I didn't care. So she's not Skywalker, whoever she is, with no training, who turns out she's a girl, but she turns out to be the whatever. Ray. I don't want to. Yeah, with no training and turns out to be Miss Powerful. It's like all this woke crap. They ruined that movie franchise. For anybody that follows the story, it's just like, how can you destroy such a good franchise? And they did it. But I like The Mandalorian. I'm debating. I haven't been inside a movie theater and I don't know when. So I'm debating whether I want to actually set foot in a movie theater to go see the new, when it comes out in May, this Mandalorian and Grogu. Okay. Enough of that. Lots of stuff. The SPLC indictment stuff is still making news. Chuck Schumer is still being ridiculed, as he should be, for his comments that nobody respects ICE, and nobody respects Customs and Border Patrol. In fact, we have two things from that, and then we have a lot of stuff with the Iran Water Day and others. Mondami put his foot in it, attacking Ken Griffin, put his home in a video, basically inviting people to whatever as he presses for higher taxes. And the Citadel slapped back with him and just kind of hinted that maybe they'll pull out. I don't know whether they're going to pull out of New York, but it's low rent, low class what he did. Singling out somebody because they're wealthy to promote his socialist agenda of taxes. It was just unconscionable. Illinois is trying to raise taxes on the wealthy too. There is, New York Times did a big story about one of their podcasters, and other people are picking up the stories. It's not their podcaster anyway. This woman who stole stuff from Whole Foods, bragging about it, and that left wing progressive podcaster Hassan, what's his name, Piker, is involved in it, and he's supporting the idea. If we have time, we may get to that tomorrow if we don't have time for it today. God willing, we're here tomorrow, of course. But let's start with Chuck Yu. We got two. His comments first, 6 and 7, and then Fox News did a live remote from Houston, and they had just a room full of people in Houston, and they played the Chuck Yu bite again, and you could tell the reaction from the crowd as to what they thought. So first, let's refresh what Chuck Yu Schumer, Senate floor. And he's arguing because, here we go, let me just explain it very briefly. The shutdown is still on. The DHS shutdown. Yeah, it's still going on. They didn't come to an agreement, but the Republicans now finally placed the funding for ICE and Border Patrol in a reconciliation bill, which means it doesn't have to get 60 votes. It only needs Republicans to vote for it. It'll pass. And Chuck Schumer was on the Senate floor. He's mad about it. He kept whining. So let's listen to Chuck Yu Schumer, cut 6. Here he is.
We'll see even more clearly tonight where the Republicans are, not on the side of lowering costs, but on the side of masked agents occupying our streets. Where the heck are you? America is crying out for relief from high costs, and you're here adding $140 billion to an agency that nobody, to two groups, Border Patrol and ICE, that nobody respects in this country.
Nobody respects Border Patrol and ICE. He's mad because they're going to get funded. Well, Fox News was down, like as I said, in Houston, Texas, and they played the clip. They were doing a live show with big audience in the back, and cut 7, this is what it sounded.
That nobody, to two groups, Border Patrol and ICE, that nobody respects in this country.
No one respects? Not in this crowd. We respect Border Patrol. We respect ICE. Texas was the hardest hit state when it came down to the illegals crossing this border. You had many Texans that died as a result of illegals that came into this country. Jocelyn Nungry died here in Houston, Texas, and he didn't say her name there. So to demonize the people that are trying to keep this country safe, it's just not going to fly with the American people.
So it wasn't too long ago.
Not going to fly.
The president's done the impossible. Border Patrol is still the border. They had to live life without any support, being overwhelmed.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, the audience totally, yeah. No, there are calls for Chuck Schumer to resign. You know, calling for politicians to resign is very often useless like this. He's not going to resign because he demeans. He's playing to his base, in fact. But the remarks were disgraceful nonetheless. And that demonstrates, it's fun to see real people, if you saw the video of this, reacting to Chuck Schumer. Okay, let's quickly take a break because I want to get to some other things. I want to talk about Virginia and this redistricting fight. I also want to talk about SPLC. Can't wait. If God willing, tomorrow, Princess Diana and I get a chance to talk about this Southern Poverty Law Center stuff. James Golden, Snerdley, with you. Fastest hour in American media continues. Whatever you do, stay here with us. Don't go away, please.
Rush. This is the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Oh, Snerdley.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
My friends, Jake Tapper last night had on West Virginia's former Attorney General, Ken Cuccinelli. And this was a really good segment. Runs about 3 minutes, so I need you to be a little patient. But he really explains, Ken Cuccinelli, what are some of the issues. A court has ruled that this election, this redistricting election fiasco, cannot be certified. And it is in litigation now. So here's Jake Tapper and Ken Cuccinelli giving you the legal lowdown on what is taking place with this Virginia redistricting bill.
Ken Cuccinelli, he's a Republican. Ken, good to see you. So first, I guess let's get to the breaking news. This judge in Southern Virginia ordering results to not be certified. The judge called the ballot language flagrantly misleading. What's your reaction?
Right. Well, it certainly was flagrantly misleading, but my basic reaction is that I appreciate lower court wins, but the Virginia Supreme Court is going to decide this. And to Terry's point about, well, hey, if they didn't decide it before, there's a reason the Supreme Court held off until after the vote. Over 100 years of Virginia legal precedent says that the vote in a referendum is part of the legislative process. It's analogous to a governor signing a bill. You don't sue on a bill that hasn't passed yet. So what they've done here in terms of timing is very much in keeping with the Virginia legal history. What isn't in keeping with Virginia legal history is how this General Assembly has so blatantly ignored the requirements of the Constitution to amend the Constitution. So I think it's highly likely that this will be overturned probably in May.
So CNN's Manu Raju pressed Speaker Johnson today about some of the criticism from Republicans that the Republican Party, did not spend enough money to fight the Democratic measure. Take a listen.
Republicans have spent more money. Trump didn't barely touch his super PAC money. Should you guys have spent more money?
We don't know the final result, but the president's team spent a lot. We put in tens of millions of dollars on that ballot initiative.
I mean, given the fact that the margin was much more narrow than a lot of Democrats anticipated, what do you think? Did Republicans miss a chance here?
Well, there's no question that the 3 or 4 to 1 spending difference was the margin. You know, when all the votes are counted, this will be about a 2 or 3 point win for the yes side. That is, it's hard to say that money didn't make that difference, but now they have to win 4 constitutional challenges, state constitutional to clarify, challenges, and they have to win all 4 of them to hold on to this referendum. I just don't think they can do it. There's some very basic processes in the Constitution for amending the Constitution that they ignored. And now they're going to say, just like Terry did, well, 3 million people voted and you can't ignore the will of the people. Well, they were ignoring the will of the people and how they brought this forward. And now we're going to have it decided by the Virginia Supreme Court. I wouldn't be surprised to see a 7-0 ruling throwing this out.
All right, to be continued. Former Virginia Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli, thank you so much.
Yeah, now, folks, this would be amazing. Having the Democrats spend all this money, having the vote turn out the way it did, and if Cuccinelli is right and this gets thrown out, boy, oh boy. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
Welcome back, my friends. Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. Fastest hour in American media. Sheryl Crow brings us back. The year was 2007 on this day. Sheryl Crow had a big announcement to make. Sheryl Crow said on this day in 2007 that there needs to be a ban on people using too much toilet paper. She warned that using too much toilet paper was hurting the environment. Sheryl Crow, on this day in 2007, suggested that all of us start only using 1 square of toilet paper, 1 square of toilet tissue per restroom visit. Unless, of course, on those pesky occasions where you had to just use 2 or 3 squares. She made her comments on her website. She was at the time touring America in a biodiesel-powered bus to raise awareness about climate change. Sheryl Crow had also designed a clothing line with what she called her dining sleeve. The sleeve was detachable and could be replaced with another dining sleeve. So you wipe your mouth or wipe whatever you're wiping with your sleeve, and later on you replace the sleeve and have another wipe handy. She was selling it. And she was suggesting again that people only use 1 square. Now, this prompted Rush Limbaugh and his production team at the time, the genius of Johnny Donovan. Many of you at ABC in New York know that name. Johnny Donovan, to come up with this.
Now that Sheryl Crow is leading by example, everyone wants to save the world by using only 1 sheet of toilet paper.
Ms. Simpson, may I have just 1 more sheet?
I'm sorry, Johnny, but it's against school policy.
Now, Sheryl has even more practical ways to save the world when you need to go, like sharing your sheet with a friend.
Hey, you want this? Maybe later. I only used 1 side of it.
Or instead of toilet paper, try using discarded paper products you find beside the road.
Ow!
Or go native like the animals in the wild and just don't wipe at all.
Honey, we're out of toilet paper! Oh, we're not out. We're just going paperless this year. Isn't it great? Just think about what you're doing to save the environment.
I'm gonna use the bath mat!
Oh, no!
Join Sheryl in her quest to save the world.
Hi, this is Sheryl Crow. I'm driving this huge bus around America to spread the word about global warming. And I can't wait to shake hands with each and every one of you.
Yeah, 1 square of toilet paper per bathroom visit. Save the world from Sheryl Crow. Back in 2007. The memories, my friends. James Golden. Now, before the break, we played Tapper and Ken Cuccinelli. It would be wonderful if in Virginia, this is actually these 4 constitutional challenges to this. This is a heavy lift. It is a very heavy lift. And it would just be wonderful to see all this gloating that took place all over the left-wing news channels. If this is reversed, number one, Spanberger's image drops. Also, all this money they spent, if it turns out to be unconstitutional, yeah, this is not over by a long shot. A reporter, one of these reporter types that we all know, was in the White House and asked President Trump, about his claims that the Virginia redistricting was rigged. He was Trump. Cut 2, this is what it sounded like.
Virginia Department of Elections earlier today and asked them if they had seen any evidence of election tampering, of fraudulent mail ballots being passed in the Tuesday election, or if there was any evidence of non-citizens voting in that election. Why did you say that that election was rigged?
Well, you have mail-in ballots, and they found a lot of them at the end of the day. All of a sudden,
they said that they have received no credible information related.
Well, I know you'd say that no matter what. You know, you've been saying that for years, and now they're finding out that the 2020 election was totally rigged. And when you look at what just, excuse me. How do you defend what just happened where your Southern law, whatever it is, has given money to KKK? They're supposed to protect people, and they're paying all these people, crooked as can be, millions of dollars going all to all these people that they're supposed to be protecting from, but they're actually supporting them because they want to have companies that they can protect and because they want to rig elections. That was all a rigged election. All of the things with Charlottesville, all of the stuff that they did. And you won't bring that up, but you'll bring up some nonsense. Let me tell you, the election, we were winning all day long. It's a totally horrible situation. Hopefully the courts will overturn it, what they did in Virginia. You have a grossly incompetent governor. You had a very good governor. He did a good job. You know, all those companies that want to move into Virginia now, they want to move out and go to a different location. So that's my opinion. I believe it was a rigged election. Virginia's known for it. It was a rigged election. They had a lot of ballots, mail-in ballots. Anytime you have mail-in ballots, you have cheating. Did you have something?
Yes.
Move right on. Anytime you have these massive mail-in ballot things, you have cheating. That's what the president believes. Okay, fine. Now, moving on to the Southern Poverty Legal Center, we have cut number 3. Again, we talked about some of the impact of this. I will speak about this more in detail, those of you that will be with us tomorrow morning, God willing, with Princess Diana, because to me, this is a massive case. It is massive on many levels. And but this Moms for America shows you the impact. The group Moms for America was interviewed, Kimberly Fleischer, and she talked about some of the consequences. And I just want to make a brief suggestion following. This is cut 3. I believe this interview was on Fox. It may have been
the Southern
Fox
Poverty Law Center regularly slaps mainstream conservative groups with labels like extremist or hate. Here is the president of one of those groups. She says that label has very real consequences.
Because they listed us as a hate group on their hate list, and it's been consistent for the last 5 years. We've been deplatformed from social media. We've been denied services from everything from insurance to, payment platforms, even Vimeo with video storage. And every single one of them have identified the reason as us being on the Southern Poverty Law Center, saying they won't work with hate groups. Well, are they going to work with us now because the Southern Poverty Law Center is the hate group?
Ooh, Moms for America.
Yeah. Well, here's what needs to happen. Every single one of those groups that she was deplatformed on needs to be sued. Every single one. Plus, all these lawsuits need to come back again to Southern Poverty Law Center. They need to be sued because it's clear that what they were doing in terms of trying to. Wait a minute, I just got a text. I'm looking at it. That's Nasty James. I'm assuming that's Nasty James refers to the Sheryl Crow use only one square of toilet tissue. I have never endorsed it, either practically or intellectually. I would never endorse telling people to use one square of toilet tissue per bathroom visit unless you have a pesky occasion where absolutely 2 or 3 are required. That was Sheryl Crow. Liberals. Sheryl Crow, not James, not Bo Snerdley, telling you when you go to the bathroom, only use one square of toilet tissue. Now, as I was saying, before I looked up and saw the text, every single one of these groups that has been involved in de-banking, deplatforming conservative groups on the basis of SPLC's hate need to be sued. They need to make good. They should be doing their own research, not relying on a political hack group. They have not treated people. They have discriminated against people on the basis of a political allegation made from a group that has not credibility. You know, John Stossel, the reporter, we didn't even put it on the list today. Maybe for tomorrow, God willing, we get to it. Did a report on SPLC years ago. Others have. This is nothing. People have been complaining about this group for years. But because the mainstream media never really gave their investigative take on this, investigated, because groups, and you even see it in the reporting of this stuff. Like I remember the New York Times, civil rights group this. They were a political organization. And that's all they were. And this stuff being exposed ought to wake everybody up to how you are being, if you believed them, how you are being in the words of, there was a woman who called a Rush show once, and she used the word manipulated, and I have never been able to get it out of my head ever since then. This ought to show people how people have been manipulated. If you believed Southern Poverty Law Center and you believed all these mainstream, just conservative groups, moms trying to make sure that they had some accountability for what their kids were being taught in school instead of this being sexualized, all this stuff, if you believed these people, you are manipulated. Now, quickly, they let TMZ into the presser with the Pentagon. Pete Hegseth, cut 9. TMZ is now in Washington, D.C. This was TMZ's first appearance. I'm not going to give it away. This was TMZ's first appearance at a Pentagon briefing.
Right here, new members of our press corps here.
Jacob Wasserman with TMZ DC. We have two questions. I'm going to ask the first. My colleague will ask the second. You know, I've heard you talk a lot about bombing.
We'll see.
Sorry?
We'll see.
Okay. I've heard you talk a lot about bombing people and places. And when you give these orders to carry out this extreme level of violence, what's going through your mind and your body? Do you have like an adrenaline rush? Are you scared? Do you feel like you're on a power trip? Just walk us through and paint us a picture of what it feels like mentally and physically.
It's a very TMZ question. My only thought process is to ensure that our warfighters have everything they need to be successful, defeat and destroy the enemy, and they come home. I want them to feel empowered, to have every authority they need within our rules and within our law to bring maximum violence to the enemy. Because war is violent, war requires doing difficult things, but I want our people to feel empowered, so it's our guys that come home and their guys that do not. Sure, I'll give you one chance.
Charlie Cotton from TMZ DC. You changed the Department of Defense to the Department of War. Would you consider changing the name again to the Department of Peace, since that's what we're all after?
Well, that's the pursuit. It's a great question, actually. You go from defense to war because you want to be proactive about peace through strength. And really, I gave a speech in front of generals about what the ethos of the War Department is all about, because I wanted to go through every echelon of this department. It means something. It's not just words. And when you fight a war the right way, the idea is on the other side you bring about peace. That is what we'd like to see the most. In fact, I once did a video about the one institution that should win the Nobel Peace Prize every single year is the United States military, because we are the guarantor of the safety and security of, not just of our country, but of a lot of people in this world. Last question. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Boom. Thank you. That's enough. Yeah. So 50-50 for TMZ. The first question was just what goes through your mind and your body when you're are you getting an adrenaline rush? Is it like power, man? Like, wow, man, I'm caught bombing, man. Like, wow. Seriously, dude. But the second question was actually an interesting premise, as Pete Hegseth said, and that's also something Rush used to talk about. The fact that if you want peace, peace usually comes after one side has been defeated and has had to come to a peace. Speaking of that, the Navy Secretary, we have a new acting Navy Secretary of the Navy. The other guy apparently was tossed out. Yeah, this will be quick, Carlos. Somebody got to get to a break. This will be quick. The other guy was tossed out because he didn't deliver on the battleships that Trump wanted. Apparently, that's the story. So we have a new acting Navy Secretary, Wang Chao. He is Asian. And, of course, being in the administration, he's come under attack. He had one of the funniest lines I have ever heard dealing with these attacks that he has faced. It is, you'll have to listen quick. It's 10 seconds, cut 20. And this is the new acting Navy Secretary, Hong Chow.
This is great. I know I'll be attacked by the left and call me white supremacist, but I have one ask for them. It's just when you give me my hood, make sure it's got the little slits and not the circles so I can see better.
He said, when the left starts calling him a white supremacist and putting him in that Klan hood, make sure it doesn't have the circles, it has slits so he can. I laughed myself silly with this guy. Oh my gosh. We're coming back. James Golden, Snerdley. Do not go away.
Rush. This is the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Oh, Snerdley.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
Rush. Now, here's James Golden.
Oh, my friends, today we have to, before we take off out of here, Fat Friday show goes so fast. The whole week goes fast. There are three iconic artists that I would like to talk about just as we leave our program this week. Born on this day in 1942 is one of the most left-wing, if you want to look at the politics, people. But I don't look at the politics. I still love this woman. I love her voice. I love her music. The politics, I just, whatever. It's like a whatever thing. That would be Barbra Streisand. Barbra Streisand, to me, is just so, she's such an amazing singer and all of that. She's one of the EGOTs. She has won an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. She has her birthday date, born in 1942. On this day in 1979, Ray Charles, this song from Ray Charles, was proclaimed the state song of Georgia. And if you watch the movie Ray Charles, you will know how profound that was. The way that Ray Charles was treated by the state of Georgia on his rise up. The music was a song written in the 1930s by Hoagy Carmichael, but Ray Charles' version of it was proclaimed the state song of his native state, Georgia. Recorded it in 1960. Profound. And on this day, one of the greats of all time, Satchmo, Louis Armstrong, was in number one across the pond with his singles. He was 69 years old at the time. It made Louis Armstrong, at the time, the oldest performer ever to have a number one hit in the UK. Wow. We got to go. May God bless and protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude for your being here with me, allowing me to be with you. God willing, we are back in the morning, very early, for the Saturday morning extravaganza. I hope you're with us. In the meantime, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?